And in a major setback to President Donald Trump's trade agenda, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down several of his sweeping import tariffs in a 6-3 ruling. The court held that the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEEPA, does not authorize the president to impose broad global tariffs. Within hours of the ruling, Trump signed a new executive order imposing a 10% global tariff. Speaking at the White House, he criticized the court's decision and insisted he retains authority to impose tariffs without congressional approval.
Therefore, effective immediately, all national security tariffs under Section 232 and existing Section 301 tariffs, they're existing, they're there, remain in place, fully in place, and in full force and effect. Today, I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122 over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country from unfair trading practices of other countries and companies.
With IEEPA curtailed, the administration's remaining options lie mainly under Section 301 and Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. Section 301 allows the U.S. Trade Representative to investigate unfair foreign trade practices and impose retaliatory tariffs. However, investigations can take up to 12 months in cases not tied to trade agreements, limiting rapid action. Section 122 provides faster authority. It allows the president to impose temporary import surcharges of up to 15% for a maximum of 150 days to address serious balance of payments issues. Well, no prior investigation is required, but any extension beyond 150 days requires congressional approval. Another legal tool occasionally discussed in trade policy debates is Section 338 of the Tariff Act of 1930. Section 338 gives the president authority to impose additional duties of up to 50%. Unlike Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974, Section 338 does not require a lengthy investigation by the U.S. Trade Representative. However, it does require a formal finding of discriminatory practices. Well, in practice, Section 338 has rarely been used in modern times. Now, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has previously acknowledged these alternatives are less powerful and less flexible than IEEPA. The markets reacted positively to the court ruling. Investors viewed the ruling as potential relief for companies burdened by higher input costs. However, uncertainty remains over whether previously collected tariffs will need to be refunded. Analysts say any large-scale refunds could act as a form of economic stimulus. Framing the issue as central to his economic vision, Trump reiterated that tariffs are essential to rebuilding America's manufacturing base and protecting domestic industries. He argued that the tariffs generate revenue for the United States and claimed that trading partners like India are now paying tariffs to the U.S. and not the other way around. Despite the repeated trade rhetoric, Trump now faces a narrower legal pathway and more hurdles in his tariff-driven agenda. And for more on this, correspondent Susan Tehrani sent us this report from New York. Let's listen in.
The U.S. Supreme Court has struck down President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs imposed under a 1977 emergency powers law, but the administration says tariffs are far from over. Officials, including Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, say revenue to the Treasury should remain steady because the White House plans to quickly shift to other legal tools, including Trump's proposal for a new universal 10% tariff on imports. So what is next? Well, the administration is expected to roll out replacement tariffs under different trade statutes, while businesses may challenge whether they're legal or not. Another open question is what happens to the billions already collected under the emergency law. The court did not order refunds, meaning companies may now push for repayments through separate legal battles. For American consumers, this likely means little immediate price relief. Even if some tariffs are removed, new ones, including that proposed 10% across-the-board tariff, could keep import costs and consumer prices elevated. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.